He terrorized, manipulated, and nearly destroyed an entire family on the cobbles, and for months, Coronation Street fans have been begging for one single question to be answered. Who killed Theo Silverton? Well, Weatherfield. The wait is finally over, and the answer has left viewers absolutely reeling. Because the person who pushed Theo Silverton to his death from that scaffolding wasn't Todd. It wasn't Gary. It wasn't even one of the 6 suspects the show spent months dangling in front of us. It was Sarah Platt, and if you think that sounds shocking now, wait until you hear exactly how it happened and just how far the fallout is about to spread. If you're new to Coronation Street or you've simply lost track of the chaos on the cobbles this year, let's rewind, because this storyline has been building for a very long time, and it's one of the darkest the soap has tackled in years. At the center of it all is Theo Silverton, played by James Cartwright, who arrived in Weatherfield as Todd Grimshaw's seemingly charming new love interest. Todd, played by Gareth Pierce, is one of the street's most enduring characters, a man who has been through more heartbreak than most, and for a while, Theo looked like exactly what he needed. They fell in love, they got engaged, they got married. But behind closed doors, a very different story was unfolding. Theo turned out to be a master manipulator and an abuser, subjecting Todd to a campaign of coercive control, isolation, and outright cruelty that the show handled with real sensitivity, working alongside the LGBTQ+ anti-abuse charity Gallup to make sure the storyline reflected the reality of what so many people experience. Todd was gaslit, frightened, and cut off from the people who loved him, while Theo maintained a polished, charming exterior to everyone else on the street. It was gut-wrenching to watch, and it was also, crucially, a slow burn because Corrie made sure that piece by piece, person by person, Theo's mask began to slip. It was George Shuttleworth who first raised the alarm, sharing his suspicions with Christina Boyd and Summer Spellman that something was very wrong behind Todd and Theo's front door. From there, the circle widened. Sarah Platt, one of the street's most familiar faces, and someone who has weathered her own share of Weatherfield drama over the years, became convinced something sinister was going on and started digging for proof, even confronting Theo's ex-wife Danielle to find out whether history was repeating itself. Gary Windass, initially loyal to his mate Theo, eventually saw the truth for himself when he overheard Theo screaming abuse at Todd through the flat door, and that was the moment Gary turned, sacking Theo from the builder's yard and warning him, in no uncertain terms, to watch his back. But the true horror of what Theo was capable of came into sharp focus during the show's now infamous Corriedale crash special. In the chaos of a multi-vehicle pileup, Theo had the chance to save Billy Mayhew, Todd's former partner and one of his closest friends, from a mangled minibus. Instead, in a moment of pure self-preservation, Theo left Billy trapped inside, and moments later, the vehicle exploded, killing him. It was a devastating twist that rocked the whole street, and it meant Theo was no longer just an abuser hiding behind a friendly smile. He had blood on his hands, and everyone around him, whether they knew it or not, was now standing far too close to a killer. That guilt ate away at Theo in the weeks that followed. Viewers watched him unravel, seeking out spiritual comfort from the local bishop, falsely claiming he'd tried and failed to save Billy, and even breaking down at Billy's coffin to whisper a confession nobody was supposed to hear. Except somebody did hear it, and from that moment, Theo's carefully constructed world started to crumble for good. Carl Webster, no angel himself, discovered Theo's secret, and rather than exposing him outright, the two men ended up locked in a dangerous game of mutual blackmail. It was a storyline packed with tension, with Corrie producer Kate Brooks teasing that the show was heading toward a whodunit moment unlike anything the soap had done before, a special flash-forward episode that opened with a body, 5 potential victims, and a mystery that would ripple across almost every corner of the street. And that brings us to the reveal fans have been dissecting for weeks. It was Todd who finally found the courage to escape his abuser and report Theo to the police after a desperate, high-risk bid for freedom from the flat where Theo had been keeping him virtually imprisoned. But before Theo could ever face justice for what he'd done to Todd or to Billy, his body was discovered, pushed from scaffolding to his death. For a long stretch, Corrie kept viewers guessing, with suspicion falling on practically everyone connected to Theo, from Todd himself to Summer, Gary, George, Christina Boyd, and even Theo's ex-wife Danielle. Fans built entire theories around who had finally snapped and ended Theo's reign of terror once and for all. Then, in an emotionally charged episode, the truth came out. It was Sarah. Sarah Platt had gone looking for Todd after hearing his phone ringing out somewhere near the scaffolding, only to find Theo there instead, deep in a threatening, unhinged state. According to the storyline, Theo made chilling remarks that led Sarah to believe he had already hurt or even killed Todd, warning her that if she thought what he'd done to Todd was bad, she had no idea what he was capable of doing to her. As he advanced on her, Sarah made a split-second decision that would change her life forever, and Theo fell to his death. The actress behind Sarah, Tina O'Brien, opened up about filming the dramatic scenes, admitting she was genuinely stunned to learn her own character was the one behind Theo's death. She described the atmosphere on set in the lead-up to the reveal as something close to a real-life game of Cluedo, with cast members told they were involved in the storyline without knowing whether they were the culprit. O'Brien said that once she realized the truth, she didn't feel worried about what it meant for Sarah's future on the cobbles. Instead, she felt honored to be trusted with such a huge, pivotal moment in the show's history. She also revealed just how hard it was to keep the secret in real life, admitting she'd only told a small handful of people close to her, including her son, while watching fans speculate wildly online without being able to say a word. What's made this twist even more compelling is what's happened since the reveal. In the weeks following the shock revelation to viewers, the story didn't simply resolve, it escalated. Sarah confessed the truth to Todd directly, forcing him to sit with the devastating knowledge that the woman who'd tried to protect him from Theo's abuse was also the one who killed him. Meanwhile, Gary Windass found himself dragged deeper into the cover-up, urging Sarah to keep quiet even as the guilt visibly consumed her. And in one of the most gut-punch developments of the whole saga, police officer Kit Green, Sarah's own partner, spent weeks convinced that Gary was the killer, entirely unaware that the woman he was preparing to propose to was the one he should have been investigating. In a moment dripping with dramatic irony, Kit got down on one knee to propose marriage, and instead of a joyful yes, Sarah broke down and confessed everything. It's the kind of gut-wrenching, soap opera collision of love and guilt that Coronation Street does better than almost anyone. From there, things moved fast. New spoilers confirm that Sarah has now been formally arrested on suspicion of Theo's murder, in scenes filmed as a special single-strand episode that promises to leave her with absolutely nowhere left to hide. The arrest comes at the worst possible moment, in the middle of a family celebration, as police close in while Sarah's own relatives are none the wiser about the storm about to hit their doorstep. Unsurprisingly, this has sent the Corrie fan community into overdrive. Social media has been flooded with reactions ever since the killer reveal aired, with fans admitting they never suspected Sarah, having spent weeks convinced the truth pointed toward Gary, or theorizing that Sarah and Gary were jointly covering for someone else entirely. Plenty of viewers have praised the show for pulling off a genuine surprise in an era where soap twists are often guessed online days in advance, while others have pointed out that Sarah's motive, believing Theo had just hurt or killed the man she was trying to protect, makes the moment feel less like a shock villain turn and more like a desperate act of self-defense. That nuance has sparked real debate among fans, many of whom are now questioning whether Sarah should be treated as a murderer at all, given the horrifying circumstances that led her to that scaffolding in the first place. Entertainment outlets covering the storyline have echoed that same sentiment, framing Sarah less as a cold-blooded killer and more as a woman who cracked under the weight of fear in a single, terrifying moment. There's also been considerable praise directed at the show's handling of the wider Todd and Theo storyline, with many viewers commending Coronation Street for tackling coercive control and domestic abuse within a same-sex relationship with real care, while still delivering the kind of jaw-dropping, unpredictable drama the soap is famous for. James Cartwright's performance as Theo has drawn particular attention, with fans and critics alike calling it a masterclass in playing a character who could switch between charm and menace in the blink of an eye, which only makes his eventual downfall feel all the more satisfying. So, where does this leave everyone going forward? For Sarah, the road ahead looks incredibly bleak. With her now formally arrested and forensic evidence, including her wedding outfit, already seized by police, the pressure on her to either confess fully or somehow talk her way out of a murder charge is only going to intensify. Fans are already speculating about whether she'll ultimately claim self-defense, whether Gary will be forced to choose between protecting her and protecting himself, and whether her relationship with Kit can possibly survive the fact that she lied to a police officer she was about to marry. There's also enormous speculation swirling around Todd, who now has to somehow process his grief, his trauma, and the knowledge that someone he trusted killed his abuser, a moral tangle that's likely to define his character for a long time to come. And then there's the bigger picture. Corrie producer Kate Brooks has already teased that this entire saga was designed as a sprawling who-they-done-it to, not a whodunit storyline, meaning the ripple effects are set to touch nearly every corner of Weatherfield before it's over. With a murder trial almost certainly on the horizon, fans are bracing themselves for courtroom drama, shocking testimony, and possibly even more secrets coming out before Sarah's fate is decided. Will she go to prison? Will Gary be implicated alongside her? And will Kit ever forgive the woman he was about to marry? Nobody outside the writer's room knows for sure yet, but if the show's track record with big, emotionally loaded storylines is anything to go by, we should expect twists right up until the very last moment. So, to sum it all up, Coronation Street has finally answered one of its biggest mysteries in years, confirming that it was Sarah Platt, not Todd, Gary, or any of the other suspects, who was responsible for Theo Silverton's death, in a desperate act she believed was self-defense after his chilling threats against her. The reveal has sent shockwaves through the fanbase, sparked genuine debate over guilt and morality, and set up what looks set to be one of the most dramatic courtroom storylines the soap has delivered in a long time, as Sarah now faces arrest and the very real possibility of prison. With Kit's heart broken, Gary caught in the middle, and Todd left to process an impossible tangle of grief and relief, this storyline is far from over, and honestly, it might just be getting started. If you've been following the Theo and Todd storyline, we want to know what you think. Did you see the Sarah twist coming, or did it completely blindside you like it did so many of us? Do you think Sarah deserves sympathy, or has she crossed a line she can't come back from? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss another Coronation Street update as this incredible storyline continues to unfold on the cobbles.